Hi, amazing people. I'm Baylor Trucks, and I'm back for another season of the albums I've missed. My funny little music show in which I spend an entire week listening to one album, and then I come to you with my thoughts about what I've learned about the music and what I've learned about myself. In the first season, I looked at classic albums I had intentionally avoided for whatever reason, and I used them as a way to examine my own prejudices when it comes to music. In the second season, I teamed up with Astrid, my kid in college, to look primarily at music from the past 20 years that, in many cases, I wouldn't have even known to look for in the first place. This third season? Well, let me start with some backstory. See, we have a friend named James, someone my wife Emily met as a professional colleague. James is a smart and a cool guy, and his taste in music is decidedly in the heady and intelligent sphere, with heavy influences in spiritual jazz and progressive rock. Not so long ago, James had decided it was time to give up his extensive LP collection, so he contacted us to see if we'd be interested. And we were. So now, Emily and I have come into possession of nearly 1,000 albums, with the large majority of them being jazz and progressive rock. Being an avid fan already, there weren't many jazz albums in the collection that were unknown to me. Prog was another story. The progressive albums in this collection go deep, way deep. Deeper than my knowledge of prog by quite a bit. So I called my friend Sean Tonar.
Hey everyone.
For those of you that don't know the name, Sean is the founder of Progressive Ears, the preeminent prog rock forum on the internet. He's also the host of Soul Night Live, a prog and fusion themed interview program, where Sean interviews some of the biggest names in progressive music and fusion, including Rick Wakeman of Yes, Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull, Andy Summers of The Police, Mike Keneally and Frank Zappa's band, and Billy Cobham of the Mahavishnu Orchestra, just to name a few. Sean also regularly hosts prog and fusion-themed performances featuring a bunch of Atlanta's finest musicians. Andy fronts the band Story of a Life, which itself is a damn fine prog rock ensemble.
It's a pleasure to be here. Baylor, thank you for asking me to be part of this musical adventure with you.
I invited Sean over to the house, and the two of us went through the entire collection looking for albums he thought I should know. And these will be the albums I look at in Season 3. Each episode is broken into 3 sections. Before listening to the album for the first time, I give some backstory. Then after the first spin, I will give some first impressions. And then finally, after playing the album several times a day for a week, I will reflect on what I've learned. And through each, Sean will add relevant information from an expert's perspective. So yeah, I think that's what you need to know about the new episodes. Oh, I suppose I should add that I'll be referencing my father from time to time. For those of you that don't know already, my father is Butch Trucks. He's the drummer for the Allman Brothers Band. So he's had a thing or two to tell me about music through the years, as you might imagine. The first episode of Season 3 will drop next week, September 8th, and we'll be discussing Wind and Wuthering by Genesis. So that's it. A deep dive into prog rock, a few surprises thrown in, plus expert commentary from Sean Tonar. See you all on Friday.